Grace and peace, everybody. We are back. This is an early Sunday morning video. You've never had one of these before, but don't worry. There's a good reason why. TPUSA is sending out cease and desist letters. We need to talk about it. So the Wolf of Finance, I've mentioned him before on the channel. I've never actually reviewed any of his content because I didn't think that he was a fair dealer. Well, he got his letter and he posts as what you expect someone to do in his social media streets. You put it out on YouTube. So let's jump into it. You did not get a thumbnail. You did not get a title. I'm going to finish up the thumbnail and the title while we are watching this, but it's a longer video. It's a little long. I hate to say it. And I'm supposed to be on my way to Sunday school, so don't tell anybody. It's just between us, right? Okay. So let's bring this in. Let's talk about it because I think this is going to lead to a very interesting week. And I also believe, I'll explain a little later, based upon the date that this man got this letter, I think this is why Candace's movements have changed into the multiverse of madness. So let's go. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Green hearts in chat when you can hear.
This week, I received a letter from Turning Point titled Demand to Cease and Desist Defamatory Comments. This is the first step when someone sues you for defamation. I know there are a lot of people out there making videos about Turning Point, so you should pay attention to this. They have started sending out cease and desist letters, and for some reason, they've decided to start with me. Apparently, they cannot handle the criticism from my teeny tiny YouTube channel. This letter is showing the world the type of organization Turning Point has become under Erica Kirk. They want to send legal letters to small YouTube creators. So we're going to go through this letter. And by the way, if any of you know a good lawyer in Arizona that handles defamation cases, have them send me an email through my website because I'm looking for a lawyer.
All right. He's already telling you off the bat why they send cease and desist letters. This is interesting, and you'll see why in a second. All right, because I don't know about his music. I don't know if it's copyright.
Point states in the letter, Turning Point entities are not looking for litigation. Rather, their interest is in the truth and making sure the public record is accurate.
Stop right there. Stop right there. This right here, I think, is the whole culmination. And if you have children, or if you've ever been in a situation where you have to require somebody to do something specific, and if they don't, they meet some kind of serious punishment or some kind of serious consequences, this is childlike thought process that this man is exuding right here. And what I mean by that is, they're saying to stop doing what you're doing because what you're doing isn't accurate or truthful. And this person's like, well, they're trying to sue me. Well, of course they're going to want to sue me. No, sir, they want you to stop doing what you're doing. They're saying it in this, literally in these two sentences, they tell you what they're asking for from him. But in a moment, he's going to tell you, truly, he doesn't understand this sentence, these two sentences, which is crazy work to be a whole grown man and you don't understand this. Let's go.
So they are claiming they do not want to sue me.
They said that.
But I view this letter as a threat to sue. And I think...
No, that's the thing. That's just like parents. No parent wants to add corporal punishment to their child. No parent wants to discipline their child. But their child is not doing what they're supposed to do, leaving toys on the floor, not cleaning up the kitchen, doing something crazy. Well, the corporal punishment is going to come. No parent wants to do that. No police officer wants to write a ticket or definitely doesn't want to arrest. And they for sure don't want to unleather their weapon. But if you don't do what you're told to do, there are consequences that come. This gentleman is acting as if, as a whole grown man, he doesn't understand that there are consequences in life. But let's go.
Any reasonable business person would do the same. A cease and desist letter is the first step towards a defamation lawsuit. I interpret this letter as Turning Point telling me to shut my mouth or they're going to sue me.
That is not true. That's not true at all. I'm sorry. And we're going to read the letter and we're going to see, do they tell him to shut his mouth? You can't talk. You can't say our names. Is that what they're going to say? We'll find out in a second. So the fact that he says, I interpret this already tells you that all we need to know. So you're not thinking clearly because I did not interpret it like that. How about that? And the fact that you do is problematic.
I do not understand what Erica Kirk is doing. Out of the hundreds of people posting on social media about Turning Point, why are they targeting me?
Number one, he's assuming, because he said in the beginning that they started with him. Sir, you might not be that important. Maybe they went down. Maybe you're the fifth. Maybe you're the first. Okay. Maybe the 15th. Maybe the 50th. Who knows? But how do you know that you're the first one and that it started with you? Sir, the victim complex is killer. Stop it. Just stop it.
Why are they so worried about what I am saying that they're sending me legal letters? I am one of the smallest YouTube channels in my market segment. Who do they think I
You're going to be smaller in a moment.
am? I'm a working accountant with a small YouTube channel. I have no money. I have no power. I have no influence. I don't know how much money they think they're going to get from suing me. All I have is the truth. And I'm not going to stop speaking the truth because Erica Kirk doesn't like it.
Notice who the enemy is in here. Notice the enemy is Erica Kirk. Notice the enemy is Erica Kirk, not Turning Point, not Tyler, not Andrew, not Mike McCoy, nobody else. It's Erica Kirk, which is crazy work. Besides the fact, sir, it's interesting you showed your Twitter, your Twitter profile and not your YouTube profile. Your YouTube profile is very robust. So no, they're gonna get, if they end up suing you, they're gonna get bread from somewhere else. The problem is, sir, it doesn't have to go that way. That's the thing. The ball is in your court. You don't have to be sued. You don't have to. You really don't. You can be like, okay, fine. I didn't really care that much about Turning Point in the first place. Bada boom, bada bing. I'm going to go over here and work with my clients and keep doing my life, doing short videos about how to balance your books. You don't have to talk about this topic. And that's what Turning Point is saying, because what they're saying is what you've said, sir, is wrong. Let's go.
The one good thing about a lawsuit is that everything will be out in the open, and Turning Point will quickly find out that I have nothing to hide. The letter came from a lawyer named Paul Edgard Harold from South Bend, Indiana. It seems like this is Turning Point's lawyer. I looked him up, and I cannot find that he has been admitted to the State Bar of Arizona in order to practice law in Arizona, so I'm not exactly sure how he's going to sue me in Arizona, but maybe he's working with other lawyers. In the letter, they order me to, please confirm that you will publicly correct your false statements immediately. This is not what I was going to talk about this week. But
okay, see, you're going to have to go through that actual letter, because now we're like, well, what are the false statements, sir? We want to know what the false statements are. Can we understand what they're saying is false? Maybe you misspelled TPUSA. Maybe you gave a wrong address. What is the actual false statement? See, he's already being slimy.
Turning Point is demanding that I communicate their statements publicly. So here we go.
All right, let's do it.
They include a whole list of statements they claim are false that I have made in my videos about Turning Point. Now, I'm not interested in spreading false information. So I'm glad that Turning Point reached out to me, because if I said something wrong, I am happy to correct it. So let us go through the statements where they have a problem. And you're going to want to hear this, because some of these are wild. On November 16th, I posted a video called Bombshell, Did Turning Point USA Commit Fraud? They say these are false claims. Charlie Kirk ordered a Doge-style audit that was never conducted. Here is my first problem with this letter. They do not include the actual quote that I said in the video. This is a paraphrased statement of what I said, and they are saying that the paraphrased statement is a lie. You have to tell me exactly what I said that was supposedly a lie. And they do this through the whole letter.
Okay. So so I'm going to ask a question then. Do you have the actual statement that you said? Because I don't have time to go through your transcript. Do you have the actual statement that they paraphrased? So you can compare, this is what I said. Or notice he doesn't say that I didn't say that the Doge style audit didn't happen. Interesting.
So my request to this lawyer in future letters, because I'm assuming there's going to be more, please include the actual quote that I said, so that I can respond to your accusation. But I'm going to at least try to interpret what they are saying.
Let's go.
I spoke in my video about a memo that Charlie Kirk wrote 8 days before he was murdered. In the cease and desist letter, they say, indeed, Turning Point USA's COO announcement concerning the Doge effort never used the word audit. So this is breaking news. Turning Point's attorney has now confirmed that the Charlie Kirk memo is authentic. We now have legal confirmation this did happen.
Okay.
It seems like their problem with my video is that I called it a Doge audit, when in the memo it is written as Doge effort. So they want everyone to use the word effort and not use the word audit. This letter is seriously hurting my head.
But can you see that there would be a problem with that? Can you see? See, this is why I'm saying, like, sometimes we don't desire to be gracious to people and say, oh, I misspoke, or I used a different word that I shouldn't have used. Okay, I can understand why you have a problem with that. I don't think it's really a big a deal. But if Turning Point finds it a big deal, do you not see that that's the problem? It's them. They are in the catbird seat. You're not. It is what it is. Let's go.
Whatever word you use, the memo is clearly talking about an evaluation of Turning Point.
Which happened.
But we cannot use the word audit. We have to call it an effort, or they are going to sue you. The letter goes on to say,
but you also said it didn't happen, though.
The announcement makes clear that Turning Point USA was doing what it has always pledged to donors, ensuring it was being efficient with its funds and time and making changes to foster greater efficiencies. Moreover, Turning Point USA hires a third-party audit firm to conduct an audit every year. This is all just their opinion. This is how they are interpreting Charlie Kirk's memo. They think that Charlie Kirk wrote this memo, and they think it means that they do not have to do anything. How convenient. They think that Charlie Kirk wrote a memo just to tell people to keep doing business as usual.
It's funny. You know what? I am so thankful that last night during our very long live stream, we went through Tyler Boyer's interview on a local podcast. He spent 2 hours answering every one of these questions, and he talked about the Doge effort, the Doge audit, the Doge evaluation of your finances, budget review, whatever you want to call it. They talk about that, and it happened. That's the crazy work, man. This dude tried his best to make that happen, and now he looks like this. Let's go.
Well, my opinion, and the opinion of many other people, was that Charlie Kirk's memo meant something different.
That's your fault.
This is not a statement of fact. It is an opinion. This is another problem I have with this letter. Most of the statements they mention are opinions, just like this one. If you are going to accuse me of defamatory statements, they need to be facts, not opinions. If I have a fact wrong, let me know, and I will happily correct it. But I will not change my opinion of this memo to whatever you want. But since it is so important for Turning Point, I have no problem with specifying that Charlie Kirk's memo used the words Doge effort, not Doge audit. The next statement is, someone at Turning Point decided not to file 990 forms. At the time I made that video, those forms were not publicly posted. Those forms were posted after I made that video, and I have already made a correction about that. The next statement is, in 2020.
So you can understand that they were asking for that. So let me just real quick. So that wasn't a paraphrase, by the way. It doesn't seem like it. So continue, Jason.
$650,000 may have been funneled from Turning Point USA through Turning Point Action to Turning Point PAC to evade campaign finance restrictions. They are referencing this chart from my video. They claim money actually went from Turning Point Action to Turning Point USA as a reimbursement for event expense. There was nothing nefarious about that transfer. I'm not sure they are contradicting what I am saying. According to their own...
Tyler Boyer talked about that last night, by the way. That's wild that Tyler talked about that.
Statement. Turning Point USA used their own donor funds to pay for an event on behalf of Turning Point Action, freeing up Turning Point Action funds, which they then transferred to Turning Point PAC. They are saying that later, Turning Point Action reimbursed Turning Point USA for that event. But that doesn't change what I was saying. Additionally, in my video, I specifically said Again, this is not necessarily illegal if they structure their transactions correctly and utilize campaign finance loopholes, but it certainly looks unethical. That is my opinion. This money did move between the organizations. I'm allowed to have my opinion.
I don't know if couching something, a false statement, as your opinion is a defense against defamation. My opinion is XYZ, and that defames somebody, and I can say, well, it was just my opinion. I don't know if you get away with that. And again, we'll find out. We'll find out in the future for sure. But I don't think that just automatically gives you a carte blanche to say, well, it's my opinion XYZ, it's my opinion ABC, it's my opinion 1, 2, 3. But those things are defamatory statements. I don't believe you can just do that.
On November 30th, I posted a video called Explosive, More Fraud at Turning Point USA. They say these are false claims.
Well, number one, you already said more fraud. So that assumes that there's already been fraud. So you're already starting off on a bad foot from there alone. Let's go.
There was more fraud at Turning Point USA.
Give us the whole
I
letter.
assume they are referring to the title of the video here.
Yes.
They, of course, are saying that there is no fraud at Turning Point USA. The content of the video is me going over the evidence of fraud and sharing my opinion. Now, technically, a true statement would be that no one has been convicted of fraud at Turning Point USA. But whether fraud is going on right now is an opinion. This is what happens in every criminal court case. Both sides look at the facts. One side gives their opinion that they are innocent. The other side gives their opinion that they are guilty. Turning Point is looking at the financials and claiming that they are innocent. I understand that. I'm looking at the same financials and thinking they look suspicious. I did not even say in my video that they committed fraud. I think I'm very fair and balanced when
If the title says more fraud, come on, man. Dude, come on. You literally said the title says explosive, more fraud at Turning Point, but in the video, I don't say fraud. Okay. I mean, it's on the title, for crying out loud. You just showed it to us. My dude.
I say, now for legal reasons, I have to say that I do not have any evidence of a crime. We would need an investigation of the books at Turning Point to know for sure. What I am saying is that there are red flags in the financials at Turning Point and a lot of questions that need to be answered. That sounds to me to be pretty fair and balanced, and the complete opposite of what they are accusing me of saying. They cannot take my statements out of context and accuse me of defamation.
You literally said there's more fraud at Turning Point.
I have the right, as a journalist, to report on Turning Point's financials.
Wait, hold on. A moment ago, maybe editor Jason can roll us back. He introduced himself as a small accountant that serves his clients. Now he's a journalist? Okay. Man, you got a lot of hats, my dude. You're wearing a lot of hats. Maybe wear one fewer, possibly.
Their opinion that they have not committed fraud is just an opinion. My opinion is that it looks suspicious. Now, it is nice that we have this letter with their official statements, but the letter does nothing to change my suspicions. It does not address most of my questions. Instead of answering my questions, it is the precursor to a lawsuit unless I change my statements. That does nothing to reduce my suspicions.
But it does mean that you don't have to get sued, though. If you get sued, that's not because of this letter. It's because you chose to not do anything, maybe even not even address it. Well, currently you're making content out of it, so I'm pretty sure you're not going to address it.
For the sake of avoiding miscommunication, I can change the title of the video if that makes them more happy. I already changed it from More Fraud at Turning Point USA to More Fraud at Turning Point USA, allegedly. The next statement is that America's Turning Point had ghost employees. The letter explains, America's Turning Point had 80 employees in FY23 and 108 in FY24. There was, however, an inadvertent error in America's Turning Point filing, which failed to note these employees, and America's Turning Point is in the process of rectifying that inadvertent error. So I was right. There was something wrong. They did put incorrect information on the 990 form. There were missing employees they were not reporting. They have confirmed it. And just to be clear, this was not some minor mistake. This was around 80 employees that were somehow missing. Their complaint is that it's not correct to use the term ghost employees. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that opinion, but that is their position. I find this incredible. How are they going to sue me for this? They admit that
Easy. They can sue you very easily because one, you already said that they don't submit 990 forms. And then you said in the 990 form, I guess that they didn't submit, they had ghost employees. You're using terms that don't work. So I can see clearly they can sue you or they wouldn't be doing this. But again, you could just say, hey, I made a mistake. They've corrected this. I see it differently. Bada boom, bada bing, we're done. You don't have to be sued. You don't have to have that. You want that, and there it is. You're going to get it.
am right that the employees were not reported correctly.
Okay.
They don't like.
Okay, fine. You can literally just eat the crow and say, you know what? Yeah, I think I was right. In this letter here, they gave a better excuse, a better reason. My bad. We'll go ahead and call it a game. Carry on, Turning Point. You don't have to be adversarial. You can just go ahead and say, yeah, I was right. They were right. I misspoke. Let's go. But nope. Pride goes before the fall.
The wording I used. How is that defamatory?
We're going to find
out. The
out,
next statement is that donations to Turning Point Action increased from $10.7 million in FY23 to $27.2 million in FY24 and suggested that Tyler Boyer may have been recruiting these donors away from Turning Point USA to undermine MAGA and benefit himself. Again, this is not exactly what I said, and I find their paraphrasing of my statements a little silly. They are claiming that Tyler Boyer never tried to undermine Charlie Kirk in any of his decisions. Tyler Boyer never tried to benefit himself in his role at Turning Point. I find those claims a little excessive.
Well, first of all, you have to know what Tyler Boyer was doing. So you would have to be in his mind. So you're going to have a hill to climb in order to do that. But let's see if he does.
What I actually say in my video was sharing my opinion on the financials, which I'm allowed to do. When you see Tyler Boyer's organization growing so much faster than Charlie Kirk's organization, that looks to me like a corporate takeover from the inside. That is my opinion, which I'm allowed to have. Now,
why don't you play what you actually said that you say they paraphrased? That might be beneficial because you're now retelling the story in 2026, but you wrote, I mean, the video went out in November of 2025. Maybe it'd be beneficial to hear what you literally said. That could help us.
Of course, I cannot know what is going on inside Tyler Boyer's mind, but that's not what I said in my video. I was not speaking about his state of mind or his motivation. I do not know that. The letter goes on to explain that donors...
Well, you said that he was trying to undermine Charlie Kirk. Isn't that motivation?
Naturally direct more money towards election activities in election years, especially to organizations like Turning Point Action that can engage in lobbying and political activity during election years. Accordingly, you are wrong to assert that the increased donations to Turning Point Action evinced any sort of wrongdoing on Mr. Boyer's part. So their explanation is that all the changes in the financials can be explained by the election. That is their official explanation. I do not believe it, and that is my opinion. On December 7th, I posted a video called Top 10 Clowns of the Year. In this video, I called Turning Point my #1 clown of the year.
Wow.
I talked about the now infamous interview with Turning Point's chief security person talking about the day that Charlie Kirk was murdered. I point out the massive contradiction where he says they were not allowed to fly drones. Then I show the interview with Frank Turek where he says he was watching drone footage with Charlie Kirk. This part is breaking news because I'm not aware this has ever been discussed. The lawyer in this letter says the following.
Hold on, wait. So they're clowns of the year. Turning Point is clowns of the year because Brian Harpo said they could not fly security drones on that day, but Frank Turek said he was watching drone footage that day. If I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong because I didn't go back and pull the clip. Frank Turek was talking about how they did a drone shoot before the event started, and then they pulled it down for the AV team and the media team to be able to have snippets that they could use in social media. If that's what I believe he said in that interview with Megyn Kelly when he's wearing a white shirt, that's not two different things. But you want something to be wrong. That's the
There
problem.
was no discrepancy.
Oh,
UVU
no.
prohibited Turning Point USA from flying drones for security purposes during the event, but did allow a Turning Point USA
No,
media
I just
production
said this.
drone to briefly fly over the location before the event to collect limited B-roll footage. First of all, how could this be defamatory if I had no idea about any of this?
But you should not have said it. That's the problem. See, you think that you can say, well, I had to know that it was wrong because I said something defamatory. All you got to do is just get in here and say, my bad. See, that's why you want a lawsuit.
Second, I find this explanation absurd.
Why?
You are telling me that the security team was not allowed drones, but the media team was?
That's exactly.
That is the official explanation from Turning Point's lawyer.
But no, it's from Brian Harple. It's from, as a matter of fact, why don't you just FOIA the security? Why is nobody asking the UVU security? Why is nobody asking them to confirm this? That would be the great way to do it. But then nobody's doing that. You're just saying that, oh, you're lying because I don't know why they wouldn't do that. You're lying. Why don't you just ask UVU security? Then you would not be defaming. That's just my opinion.
My honest opinion is I do not believe that. But if that did happen, that is really silly, and it may have cost Charlie Kirk his life.
Why don't you reach out to the security at the school and then confirm that? And then you are, now you're no longer defaming. You can say, I have talked to Sheriff, I think his name was Captain Long or Captain West or something like that. I've talked to him and he has confirmed that we did not allow them to fly drones. Bada boom.
On December 14th, I posted a video called Tim Pool Rants about Turning Point. They say these are false claims. Asking whether money sent to 110 LLC was to bribe Jay Kaufman. Again, that's not exactly what I said. They are complaining that I'm not allowed to ask questions.
Oh my God.
I cannot ask questions about 110 LLC. I cannot ask questions about Jay Kaufman. I think those are fair questions to ask, given that Turning Point sends them millions of dollars as one of their largest independent contractors.
One of my, if you scan through my video from last night, Tyler Boyer explains this whole thing. The whole thing with the company the marketing company that Hoffman runs.
This is America. I'm allowed to ask questions.
This is such a petty
But I think
argument.
it is fair for Turning Point to also state their official position. They claim Turning Point contracts with 110 LLC for legitimate services. The money you ask about is spent on marketing and advertising services. Any claim that it is a bribe is false. The second statement is asking why America's Turning Point lists its COO, Tyler Boyer, as an independent contractor. Again, they are saying, I'm not allowed to ask questions. Does Turning Point see the irony in this? Charlie Kirk died under a tent with the slogan, "Prove me wrong." His whole college campus tour was about asking questions. And now Turning Point is sending out legal letters to small YouTube channels accusing them of defamation for asking questions. I was asking the question why their COO was an independent contractor. I think that is unusual. That is my opinion.
Okay, but asking a question, who knew that Tyler Boyer was an independent contractor? I didn't know it. It doesn't matter. Like, I'm sure we can look into his life and we can find things that are unusual, that don't make sense to us. And because they're unusual and because they don't make sense to us, that does not magically make it our business. That does not just automatically make it something that our questions are valid. Just because I asked the question doesn't mean it's a valid question. Or my business. I see a lot of people saying that in the chat. It's not your business. So what? Okay, fine. But to put it out there, and the step further is to say, hey, why is he an independent contractor? That's weird. Okay, whatever. It's still not my business. But then to get here on the Lord's internet, hop in front of here, use all your free will to make statements about the things that are not your business. Well, sir, yeah, you're going to get in trouble for that. You can, But you don't have to, even in this. You can say, you know what? My bad. I'm going to go ahead and make this correction, and I'm going to go ahead and keep it moving. I ain't got no time to be getting sued, because you're going to end up probably getting sued. And worse than that is money that's going to be wasted.
Turning Point is now stating their official position. America's Turning Point lists its COO as an independent contractor because his substantive role for America's Turning Point is more in line with the contractor classification. So this is new information. Now we know Turning Point is intentionally doing this. This is not a mistake. They are intentionally classifying their COO as an independent contractor, which means they are not withdrawing payroll taxes to send to the IRS. Now, if I were their CFO, I would not do this. But for some reason, their CFO, the politician Justin Olson, has determined with all of his accounting expertise that this is the best way to classify their employees. Whatever the reason, this is Turning Point's opinion about an IRS classification. It is not a statement of fact, and I'm allowed my own opinion.
But isn't that between Turning Point, the employee, contractor, and the IRS? Is the IRS coming down on their heads? That's the question we need to ask. It really isn't our business. I don't even care.
The letter also states, more generally, you have accused the Turning Point entities of being shell companies. This too is false.
But I heard you
They
say
are
that.
arguing about what can be defined as a shell company. They don't want anyone to call Turning Point's multiple organizations shell companies. Personally, I do not agree that it is an incorrect use of the definition. Turning Point is moving money between organizations like some kind of shell game. A shell game is a classic street hustle and magic trick. So in my opinion, I think it would be appropriate to call them shell companies. But if Turning Point is so upset about the word shell company, I have no problem calling them something else from now on. On December 28th, I posted a video called Shocking, Turning Point Fraud Gets Worse. They claim you recklessly repeated many of the previously described falsehoods and again directed viewers to the home address of Mr. Boyer, which has resulted in threats to Mr. Boyer's safety. Let me explicitly state that I condemn any violence, any threat, any harassment being sent to any employee at Turning Point. Do not even harass them on X.com. Do not retweet it.
Well, he's already just said that Tyler Boyer is a contractor. He said employees of TPUSA. So he doesn't care about contractors. See, this is that recklessness. You could easily, sir, just say, you know what? My bad. I did do that, and I was wrong. Let's see where he goes with that, because he's already said that Tyler Boyer is not an employee. He's a contractor. But let's see.
Them, do not send them angry messages. Keep your comments in my comment section. Just for the record, I will repeat what I have previously said. And I have to tell people, please do not go to Tyler Boyer's house. That is not appropriate.
So
I was in no way calling for violence against.
So you knew it was his crib when you put the video, when you sat before this screen, turned on the Lord's internet and gave 123 Main Street. You knew it was Tyler Boyer's crib. Okay. All right. Okay.
Tyler Boyer, and you are absolutely false in claiming that I was. In the video, I blacked out Tyler Boyer's address, which I did not have to do. He put the address himself on a public document. That's not my fault. That's his fault. Don't blame me when I have tried to protect his privacy. So that is the letter. There are more paragraphs of legal language that I skipped, but that is pretty much the letter. I have to say that in general, most of the things they brought up were nitpicky little things, like they don't want me to use the word audit or the words shell company.
Mm-hmm.
Those are not even facts. But I am going out of my way to adjust for some of their requests. And I want to mention something else. Take a moment and think of all the statements they listed in this letter as problematic. I think it's around 11 statements. They are
I don't think he does, but I think he should post the letter so that we can see it, so that we can look at it ourselves, maybe give the timestamps and the places where we can find your true statement, allegedly, and then we can look at them ourselves. You're telling us to look at the letter, but I can't look at it. I'm on my way. I got to go to fellowship hour.
claiming are false.
I'm late to Sunday school.
Now think about all the things I have talked about in my videos on Turning Point. There are a lot of other things that I have said in my videos that were never mentioned in this letter. They did not say I got those statements wrong. I think that is very telling. Again, I have no desire to spread false information. Some of their statements in this letter were actually very helpful in answering some of our questions. So I hope that this video cleared up any confusion. I will be honest with you guys. Getting a legal letter like this is scary.
Okay, let me, this is the last thing, because I do have to, I've been told by my young driver that I'm late to Sunday school. Okay, I'm sorry, child. Look at the date. Now, we are assuming that he was the quote unquote first one to get that letter. I don't think he was the first one to get the letter. I think, in my opinion, I think Candace got a letter well before this. And this is why Candace has gone off the rails as of lately, gone into the multiverse of madness, talking about the, string theory and incursions, all that kind of stuff like that. And it's kind of gotten off of the TPUSA train. And this might actually answer why so many people have said that she sounds irritated and angry. I think she's gotten a letter too.
Like this is scary. I don't know why Turning Point is attacking me like this. I don't have a lot of money. Lawyers are expensive, and I'm going to need a good one. So I'm going to ask for help. If you like my videos, consider signing up for a membership. That is money that I would use if this turns into a lawsuit. If you want to provide additional support, you can also donate directly from the homepage of my website on wolvesandfinance.com. I really appreciate all my members, and I'm so thankful for your support, especially in times like these. I'm Zach from Wolves and Finance. Thank you for watching.
All right, so that's the Wolves and Finance. I left the link to this down in the description of the video. Go check it out yourself. I don't think and I'll put in the chat as well. I don't think he's actually put out the letter, the cease and desist letter. I mean, he's already making content out of it. He might as well go ahead and give the cease and desist letter and let us read it ourselves. I'm just going to scan through his page real quick. No, he does not have the letter posted on his channel. But I just think that's interesting. Let us read the claims that they're making. Show us the evidence that you didn't make those claims. It's just like that, simple. But let me know what y'all think. Thank you so very much this morning. The doc came through with the 5, said, Sally, I missed body cam bingo yesterday. We'll catch you next time. God bless. It was hilarious, though. I hope you enjoyed it. It's on last night's video, so you can scan toward the end of it, and you'll see us playing it. But shout out to everybody who jumped in. I know this was an impromptu live stream. I'm on my way to Sunday school. Hope you all have a blessed and wonderful Lord's Day. I'll see you this evening. Lady Luck Club and myself around 8 o'clock tonight, Eastern Standard Time. We're going to be going through Candace's response to the Macrones, asking the court to throw out or dismiss the Macron lawsuit. We'll be doing that tonight at 8 o'clock. Looking forward to rocking with y'all. Everybody have a great day. I'll see you real soon. Grace and peace. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Jay Witt Podcast. If you enjoyed today's show, please do me a favor and hit me up with that 3-piece special. Like the video, subscribe, and of course, share it with somebody who would also enjoy this type of content. And make sure you leave a comment, because I do pin the best comments to the top. So thank you so much for tuning in today. And until next time, everybody, grace and peace.